Good evening. All right, we're going to try this one more time. Good evening. All right. That's the way it's supposed to go. I am Beverly Callender Anderson. I'm the director of the city's Community and Family Resources Department, and I am delighted to welcome you to the 2023 Be More Awards. We're thrilled to be here in person today, after 2 years of virtual celebrations and then a much smaller celebration last year. So being back here in person, seeing all of you makes me feel like our whole community is headed in the right direction now. So thank you all for being here. As you know, the Bloomington Volunteer Network is a program of the Community and Family Resources Department. And for 44 years, the Volunteer Network has connected caring individuals and groups with organizations and agencies in need of their time, talent, and expertise. The network also serves as a resource for nonprofit volunteer coordinators and board members and has helped to professionalize the volunteer experience in Bloomington. And we're really lucky to have the founding director of the Volunteer Network here tonight, Beth Savage. I don't know where she's sitting, but she is here somewhere. So thank you to Beth for getting us started and setting us on our way. Because this year, we welcomed a new Volunteer Network director, Michelle Moss, and many of you have spoken with her. Michelle is there. You'll hear a bit more from Michelle a little later, but I wanted to take this opportunity to say how happy we all are as a staff and as an organization to have Michelle as part of Team CFRD. So tonight's events would not have been possible without Michelle's leadership and, of course, the support of our generous sponsors. We're grateful for the contributions of the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County, Indiana University Credit Union, United Way of Monroe County, and WTIU. The Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County generously contributed the cash awards that each volunteer's agency will receive in honor of their service. So please help me thank our sponsors for their contributions and commitment. So it's now my pleasure to introduce the 26th mayor of the city of Bloomington, Mayor John Hamilton.
Thank you very much. Good evening. It is nice to be with you. It is wonderful to be here in person to celebrate so many people who make our community better. First, I want to do an acknowledgement as we head into this formal ceremony. We recognize that the city of Bloomington sits on native land. The city, as well as many administrative buildings, are on the traditional homelands of the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, and Shawnee people, and we acknowledge that they are present, past, and future caretakers of this land. We also acknowledge that much of the economic progress and development in Indiana, and specifically Bloomington, resulted from the unpaid labor and forced servitude of people of color, specifically enslaved African labor. We acknowledge that this land remains home to and a site of gathering and healing for many indigenous and other people of color, and commit to the work necessary to create and promote a more equitable and just Bloomington. We move forward knowing and acknowledging our rich, complicated, and sometimes painful past so that we can learn from it and create a true land of opportunity. Thank you. So it is up to us to create this true land of opportunity, and the folks who are being honored here this evening are doing that work. Often long hours, hard work to just do that thing. It is a good thing to do. You are in the right place tonight, where you ought to be in Bloomington, as we honor very well-deserving recipients of this year's Be More Awards. I'll add my thanks to my colleagues in city government, Beverly Callender Anderson, Michelle Moss, and your colleagues at CFR Community and Family Resource Development, and all the people who make this possible. As mentioned, this event has gone by some different names, but for more than 40 years, Bloomington has upheld this tradition of honoring and celebrating volunteers, beginning with the Community Service Award in 1980. And continuing through 5 mayors, they're counting how many mayors, 5 mayors and administrations, These are awards to individuals or groups of individuals, but they are really awards filled with the spirit of our whole community, honoring some extraordinary people and associations that are among us and reminding us that every one of us is a part of this wide, wonderful, change-making community. We each can do a thing. We'll hear more, I know, about each recipient. This represents thousands of volunteer hours. It is the kind of community engagement that helped build this Bloomington that we know through time. It helped our community make it through a pandemic, as well as recover from it, and it is what will help us continue to become the strong community we want to be. There was a guy who wrote about love notes to a community. He talked about when Peter Kageyama would go to a community, he would look for examples of where individuals did something special, meaningful, impactful, small, large, a love note given to a community. And when you see a community with a lot of those kind of love notes given, somebody who loves the community, they could pick up a piece of litter, they could volunteer, as we'll hear about many tonight. Those love notes are written by many of you and by many of our fellow residents. And interestingly, I think the people who write many of these notes are not necessarily the people with the most time on their hands. Sometimes they're the busiest people we have, but they definitely have more heart that lets them write those love notes. They care. I won't be long up here, so it's okay. But I do want to just note, we've had a lot of challenges in our community, in our country, in our earth, our globe. We can think about, of course, the global pandemic, which turned us upside down, and what that meant, how many people had to step up. We think about the huge flow of refugees around the globe these days, including in our community, and I know we'll hear about that. We think about Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine a little over a year ago. We are reminded that our communities and our countries and our systems do not work automatically. There's no autopilot to make sure everything keeps moving the way it should. We can't take democracy for granted. We can't take big hearts and caring activities for granted. We can't take a community for granted. It is made every day. It's not a status, it's a process, it's a path of being a community or a country or a globe. And this evening, we are honoring a range of efforts, each of which is part of that path and process to create a community and a beautiful place. We're honoring the spirit of volunteerism, which is born out of inspiration and serves a greater good. I'm in my 8th year as mayor, and I have been so proud of our community and how we step up and stand up and rise up to address and advance so many issues. Sometimes in the face of headwinds, which can feel daunting, but also always with these steady breezes of Bloomington's finest among who you are seated, who look to how can I help? How can I make a life better? How can I make someone's day better, or their year, or just a better future for somebody nearby or across the globe? Much of volunteerism comes from a mindset of gratitude, and that mindset is typically born of, and it often breeds, happiness. Jimmy Carter, a man who dedicated a long life to service, said, quote, "To be true to ourselves, we must be true to others." The people in our community we're talking about today are doing that, just that, and they are multipliers. They're making Bloomington better and better in ways large and small every day. We're celebrating winners today, and we are so proud of what you do. You know you are among a company of pilgrims and compatriots who do this every day. and it is truly creating a great community. And on behalf of our whole community, I am so grateful for you, for what you do. I want to send my congratulations. And now all I do is hand out awards. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. And I don't know who comes up next. Michelle, are you next? Please welcome our new volunteer coordinator for CFRD, Michelle Moss.
Hello. I am thrilled that we are all able to be together for the Be More Awards and to celebrate and honor volunteerism in our community. We have 8 inspiring recipients to spotlight tonight. However, there are so many fantastic, selfless people who volunteer their time and talents every day, helping to make Monroe County a better place. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge all of the incredible individuals and organizations whose work benefits all of us in a way that we may or may not recognize. If you turn to the back of your program, you will see the full list of nominees for the 2023 Be More Awards. And while these nominees did not receive awards, their efforts and contributions are no less great. Please join me in a round of applause to show our appreciation to all of our nominees, organizations, recipients, and nominators. We thank all of you. It is also my pleasure this evening to introduce our other presenters. We have Marcus Whited, Program Director with Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County, and also a member of this year's selection committee. Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County is powered by giving and committed to addressing the community's most pressing problems and compelling opportunities. In addition to serving as a reputable and innovation grantmaker, the Community Foundation works with its partners to incubate and accelerate forward-looking strategies for community development. Recent examples including Heading Home, CDFI Friendly Bloomington, Impact Investing, and Monroe Smart Start. Thank you, Marcus, for joining us. We also have other members of our selection committee presenting our recipients tonight. We have Aubrey Cedar with City of Bloomington Community and Family Resources Department, Doris Sims, who is over here. She is with the IU Credit Union. We have Vanessa McClary with United Way of Monroe County, and fortunately for us, we have one of last year's Be More Award recipients, Ben Wendell, who received the Most Impactful Award last year. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Lastly, I would like to thank Abel's Nursery, who's provided the beautiful plants here this evening to help spruce up our space. I'd like to thank the John Waldron's Arts Center Auditorium staff for hosting us. I also would like to thank Kevin McDowell and Ross Martini-Ellier for providing the wonderful piano music in our lobby. And Community Access Television is here live streaming this evening. They will have this in their archive, so for anybody interested, I will send out to the group in general, but please reach out if you want to find that recording. Thank you very much, and let's move along to the presentations.
Hi, everybody. The Be More Bloomington Award acknowledges a local volunteer whose work tackles an issue of particular relevance to the previous year. 2022 was in many ways the year of the refugee and the asylum seeker. Many American cities welcomed refugees from Afghanistan and the Ukraine as the Taliban reclaimed power in Kabul and Russian troops invaded Ukraine. Bloomington's Refugee Support Network welcomed refugees from both countries to our city with open arms. Volunteers provided services developed through many years of experience in creating a supportive community for refugees. It would not have been possible to do this work without individuals like Pete Lenzen. Pete, yeah, go ahead, please. Pete's own enduring desire to support refugees and asylum seekers goes back to his time in the US Navy, when he himself pulled Vietnamese men, women, and children off of makeshift boats in the South China Sea and onto American Navy vessels. In the years since then, his daily efforts to support thousands of refugees getting settled into their new homes in Bloomington has been no less heroic, and has certainly made our community a better place. Congratulations, Pete Lenzen, on your well-deserved 2023 Be More Award.
Thank you, Aubrey, for those kind words. Thank you for this honor, this award, the financial donation to the Refugee Support Network. Special thanks to Beverly and Michelle, the volunteer network that has put all this together. It's truly humbling for me to be standing aside fellow Bloomingtonians who have contributed so much to improve our community. You know, Ruth, Harold and Brenda, Kirsten, Sylvia McNair, another board member, works with me, Anne, the wonderful Meals on Wheels volunteers, Kathleen, for her many years working with CASA. I feel in awe to be compared to them in some small way. The all-volunteer Refugee Support Network helps families that fled violence in their home countries as they acclimate to life here. Many find their applications for asylum and work permits delayed because of the backlogged immigration system. So without a Social Security card, they need help to feed and clothe and care for their children during this waiting period, typically 12 months. Many need urgent medical care from trauma during the home country or during their escape and travel. Many families have small children. With small partial payments for rent, medical, utilities are important. The most crucial part of RSN support is our Special Friends Network. Volunteers who work with a young mother and kids, share a cup of tea, practice English, learn about their concerns, help them navigate our community. Many times these weekly visits develop deep friendship and understanding of those whom we thought initially were so different from us. Many of our volunteers, many of our volunteers say this is heart-opening work. Their volunteer support of these special friends is not financial. If they have needs like that, they have to come to the director. Most of our clients are self-supporting after this initial 12 to 18 months in our community. A special focus of RSN is these mothers with small children. When a family comes, the husbands generally start to work. The older kids are in school in our wonderful school system, learning about our community, improving their English skills. But the women, when mothers of small kids are isolated at home, no car, limited access to our community, we need volunteers to meet with them, to be friends, to walk with them. My personal journey helping refugees started in the early 80s, and Aubrey stole some of my thunder here, on a Navy ship rescuing vessels of the Vietnamese boat people after Saigon fell in 1975. Later, living in Seoul, Korea for 4 years, I worked on weekends helping with abandoned women and children being cared for by a new community of Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity. These periods had an indelible imprint on me, a profound recognition that while I thought I grew up poor on a dirt farm in western Nebraska, how incredibly lucky I was from the accident of my birth to be born in the USA. Many in our community are now in the Lent, Passover, and Ramadan periods, a time for prayers and family gatherings for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. I see so many similarities between these regarding the call for personal introspection and focus on family devotions. Each of these major religions have passages in their sacred writings about welcoming the stranger. I ask myself, am I really following these exhortations in my personal life? I want to recognize the fellow members of our organization who are with me today: Barb Backler, Gracia Valiant, Ann Seagraves, Lisa Mady, and Lolly. And there's many others. There's a couple dozen of volunteers that are actively helping us. To close, I'd like to share a quote that has particular meaning to me in this age of political divisiveness and distrust. This quote is from Amit Ray. Compassion is contagious. Every moment we choose compassion, we move toward a better world. Thank you and best wishes.
Can't touch anything up here. Good evening. I'm Doris Sims, and I am here to present the Be More Creative Award. It is often acknowledged by both long-term residents of Bloomington and newcomers that one of Bloomington's best characteristics is its creative arts scene. From quilting and fiber arts to limestone sculptures, classical music performances, film festivals, and high-quality professional theater, Bloomington's artistic community is always offering up something new. Maintaining a creative community of this caliber takes effort. And Ruth Albright is one of the individuals who has helped us as a community achieve excellence. For over a decade, Ruth Albright's work with the Indiana chapter of the National Society of Arts and Letters has helped young artists in the field of visual arts, drama, literature, and music develop the skills they need to pursue a career in their chosen art form. The David E. Albright and Mary Ruth Albright Friends of Music Scholarship has awarded thousands of dollars to capable undergraduate and graduate students at the IU Jacobs School of Music. Honoring her work with the Indiana chapter of the National Society of Arts and Letters, we'd like to present Ruth Albright with the 2023 Be More Creative Award. Congratulations, Ruth.
Thank you so much, Doris. I tell you, my mind's really good, but my back isn't. So I have a friend who always travels with me. I want to thank you so much for choosing me to receive the Be More Creative Award. And thanks to my Psi Iota Xi sisters who nominated me for this award. Psi Iota runs the Bloomington Thrift Shop, and I've been their co-philanthropy chair for about 10 years now. I love giving money away. And I'm happy to say that we gave some to the Refugee Network this year. They applied, as far as I know, for the first time, and I'm so happy. And we bank at the IU Credit Union, so I'm batting 1,000 so far. I was nominated for my 27 years of work with the National Society of Arts and Letters. My involvement with NSAL and the young artists we assist has meant the world to me. I truly think it is why I'm still alert and active and creative at an age that many old folks are just sitting in their recliners. I must confess that I do sit in my recliner, probably more than I should. But once I get out of the recliner and go to the computer and do some NSAO work, the mind kicks in and I'm good. My advice to anyone is to find something you love and give it your heart and soul. You'll receive so much back. You'll receive back so much more than you gave. The National Society of Arts and Letters discovers and assists outstanding young artists. On Sunday, this coming Sunday, April 16th, at 2 p.m., in this very same room, we will be presenting the 57th Annual NSAL Showcase of the Arts. Our top winners in dance, drama, literature, music, and musical theater will be performing. And you're all invited. And it's a lovely way to catch up with some of the amazing young artists in our area. I want to thank the City of Bloomington Volunteer Network for what you do to make our community a more vibrant place to live. Thank you so much.
I'm back again. This time, I'm here to present the Be More Phenomenal Award. The Be More Phenomenal Award acknowledges the outstanding work of a board or committee member within a local organization. The monetary support of the Friends of the Library bookstore, and I'm sure all of us have been to the bookstore at the library, at least I hope I have, including revenue from its massive annual book sale, allows the Monroe County Public Library to manifest its vision of a knowledgeable, inclusive, diverse, and engaged community. Ann Bunger, a member of the Friends of the Library Bookstore Committee, has improved the efficiency and organization of the bookstore with her leadership, while also providing great customer service for patrons through her generosity, wit, and humor, my type of person. To honor her outstanding library advocacy and longtime involvement with the Monroe County Public Library, Friends of the Library Bookstore, we present Ann Bunger with the 2023 Be More Phenomenal Award. Congratulations.
Hi. I'm not going to touch this, right? All right. So thank you to the Bloomington Volunteer Network and to the Monroe County Public Library and the Friends of the Library for this recognition. I'm a little in awe of the rest of you getting these awards because I just sell books. And so congratulations to you. Our library does have a truly great bookstore, and what I do is, of course, just one tiny part of what makes it run. There are staff members like Julie Gray. There are other dedicated volunteers. There are community members who donate their books and their puzzles and their CDs and their DVDs. Don't bring us VHS tapes. We don't want those. And there's a whole committee of people that oversee the store. Most of these people could not be here tonight because, if you don't know, our big spring sale started at 4:30 this afternoon. It runs until 7:30 tonight and then throughout the weekend, so I hope I'll see you there. I'm going there right after this. So I would like to turn it over to Patsy Ron, who is the president of the Friends of the Library Board.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here tonight. I was asked to come and just say a few words about the Friends of the Library. Our official title is the Monroe County Public Library Foundation. We raise money for the library so that it's able to increase, extend, and expand its programming and the activities that it does. And one of the ways that we do this is that we have that wonderful library called Friends of the Library Bookstore. So if you haven't been there, please come and visit us, and please come to the book sale that's happening right now. I want to mention we have 2 staff members for the Friends of the Library Bookstore. It's Mike Burns and Julia Gray. They're wonderful people. And then we have a committee from the board who operate the bookstore with them. So I want to thank the chair of that committee. She's Mary Kennedy. And thank you all for being here tonight and honoring all the volunteers that work so hard in this incredible town. Thanks a lot.
Hello, I'm Vanessa McClary, and I am honored to present the Be More Dedicated Award. The Be More Dedicated Award acknowledges an individual or a couple's lifetime of service to Bloomington and Monroe County through their work with a local organization. Brenda Fiscus began volunteering as a cashier at the Opportunity House in 18. I like that because it woke everybody up in here. In 1986, before the organization even had a cash register. I did like that a lot. She added up purchase totals for customers by hand with a pencil and paper. When her husband, Harold, retired 14 years later, his mother convinced him to join Brenda at the Opportunity House. Now, in 2023, Brenda and Harold have dedicated a collective 58 years of volunteer service to the Opportunity House. Opportunity House is a program of Monroe County United Ministries. While it provides affordable clothing, toys, books, and more to the local community, it also gives away the same items free of charge to individuals and families that are a part of Malcolm's volunteer program. Brenda and Harold's many hours of labor in the store and on the finance committee have ensured that low-income families in Bloomington need not worry about affording life's basic necessities, as they are working to gain stability and leave poverty far behind them. We would like to honor Brenda and Harold's lifetime commitment to our community with the 2023 Be More Dedicated Award.
Thank you. My name is Nicola Payne. I'm a manager at Opportunity House. And I've known Brenda and Harold for 5 or 6 years now. I don't want to repeat what's already been said, but we are celebrating our 55th year of business this year. And we have about 80 volunteers from 9 years old to 90 years old. Actually, we have one who's 93. We're a volunteer-run thrift store, so just the thing that was said about the vouchers that Monroe County United Ministry gives, I wanted to elaborate on that because it's a partnership between us. But both Brenda and Harold were on the committee when we revamped this program because it was kind of clunky. So last year, 1,000 families used these vouchers. That was 3,000 people. $68,000 worth of goods from Opportunity House. With thanks to you, hopefully you donate to us, even if you don't shop with us. Don't go to that G place on the east side, that's a bad word. Brenda and Harold are modest. They're not going to toot their horns, so that's what I'm here for. They've had various roles. Brenda's been a cashier, a manager, she's been on the board. She also runs the holiday department, which means bagging up thousands, literally, of baubles and pumpkins and whatever holiday she's working on. And we use these big boxes, they're 2 feet by 1 feet by 1 foot. And I counted today, this year, she's already filled 70. And it will be a lot more by the time Christmas comes. So that's an idea of what she does. Harold is on the finance committee, and most recently on the voucher committee. He's also on the board, and he's cashiered for years. He used to only cashier twice a month, but then COVID happened, and like many things at Opportunity House, he's now cashiering every week. What else was I going to say to you? Yeah, and Brenda works 2 full days a week, which most of our volunteers don't do. Most volunteers will come in once a week for 3 or 4 hours. So that's their commitment. And one thing, I did make a mistake on the nomination, at least according to Harold, that we'll let them fight it out, but it's apparently 59 years. But that's why he's on the finance committee and I'm not.
I think I may as well throw my sheet in the trash because both people have gone over most of it, but I guess a three-peat won't hurt. And I'd like to thank Nicola for nominating us because we would not be here if it wouldn't have been for that. Also, thanks to my son and his wife, Greg and Christy. They came up all the way from Louisville for the celebration. And actually, Clyde the dog came too, but we left him at home. As they've stated, Brenda did start 37 years ago, and to show the, I guess, the family nature of what we do up there is my mom was the cashier coordinator, and Brenda was looking at ways that she could volunteer, and Mom said, you know, you could probably cashier up at Op House. And she started doing that, and she liked it. She had a friend named Carol Dutton that worked with her. course, Carol fell by the wayside after a couple of years, but Brenda kept going. And so she's, as has been stated, she's worked in many capacities over the years and still going strong. Then in 2001, I retired from GE. Same deal with Mom. She still was, had the cashier scheduling, and she said, Harold, I think that's something you could do. So I tried it, and I like doing it, and I love working with the customers. That's the biggest part of reward we get up there, I believe, is working with the customers and working with our co-workers. We got a great staff of co-workers up there, and it's just like, almost like a big, it's not always a happy family, but it's always like a family, and we get a lot done, and I think the family atmosphere is the thing that we like best. And for the last 55 years, as Nicola stated, 100% of the Op House proceeds have gone to the Monroe County United Ministries daycare, supporting families, kids on the northwest side of the city, and getting them off to a good start in life. And I think that's a really important thing. Also, the voucher program, which has been mentioned with Monroe County United Ministries, where they issue credit cards, they come down and they can shop. We honor those just like we would a MasterCard or Visa. And also the Op House would like to thank the Be More Award Committee for the monetary award that goes along with this. Thank you very much.
And we'll take your VHS tapes.
Now, if you will all join me for 1887, I'd really appreciate it. Vanessa, back to give another award for the Be More Engaged Award. In order for our local volunteer-powered community organization to continue their good work, the practice of volunteerism has to be shared with and embraced by many people. The Be More Engaged Award honors an individual or group that engages in volunteer work through a business's volunteer or community service program. For Kirsten Thummel, dedicating her weekends to the Bloomington Animal Shelter's dog walking and foster guardian programs just wasn't enough. She had to share her passion with her Catalyst co-workers by bringing a group of them in to help clean and remulch the shelter's animal yards. After organizing this incredible group effort, she continued to engage her workmates by leading a fundraiser at work to help the shelter purchase important supplies. We would like to honor Kirsten Thummel for her outstanding contributions and work with the Bloomington Animal Shelter with the 2023 Be More Engaged Award. Congratulations.
Hi, it's not me. This is my volunteer, Kirsten. It's not me, not me. I'm the Bloomington, the volunteer program director for the Bloomington Animal Shelter. And I just want to say that ever since the first Be More ceremony I've ever been to, I've been so taken aback by this community and how amazing everyone is. How much volunteerism is part of life here is so different than the small town that I come from in Indiana. And even though my mom instilled those volunteering, feelings with me, a lot of people didn't have that. So in the audience here, I do see a lot of my former or even current volunteers. And I'm like, isn't it funny? They volunteer for everything just like me. So, so I still try to volunteer as much as I can because I think if I'm going to tell volunteers what to do, I need to remember how it feels when I'm told what to do, right? So, and also I always think about when I'm like 80, that I want to volunteer at the shelter and drive this person crazy. But we're not here about me. So my job is amazing because I love animals and people, so nothing could be better. A lot of my volunteers are like, I really like animals better than people, but that's not true because they're lovely. I'm like, well, I always like everybody who says that. So really, it's an amazing group of people from all different backgrounds, such a super high caliber, just like you folks here. When I met Kirsten, she was just 20 years old the first time I met her. She was a dog walker, and I was just starting this position. So I've been in it about 11 and a half years. And I remember thinking, this girl's on it. She is coming in, she's walking those dogs, she's got dedication. And then later on, she becomes a professional. She contacts me and says, I want to come back. And I was like, I absolutely remember you. You're coming back. When I started working with her, I was completely taken aback. She is brilliant. She is loving. She is caring. She is the most dedicated person like I've met in a long time. So not only, does she give us that one day a weekend when she works full time, like a lot of us do. She's working with our stray cats, then she's adoption counseling and working with the public and helping me. And she has to deal with me all day because I'm the Sunday manager. She said she loves it. I should probably tell you something else later. No, just kidding. So, but I was just, one thing I really thought was awesome is I asked some of my coworkers when I was writing the nomination, what would you say about Kirsten? And one of them said, she always notices when we're stressed. Because, a lot of people might think the animal shelter's puppies and kittens and rainbows, and sometimes it is, right? But it's a big job. It's a big job, and it's hard for us and our volunteers. And I thought, that's so true. She is one of the most emotionally intelligent people I have ever met. So, and I remember her on certain tough days when I was dealing with, an emergency, an ill or injured animal, and she's like, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, here's someone taking time out of her busy life to give support to our animals and to our humans. And not only that, but she brings us treats like every week. And I mean the good stuff, you guys, like crumble cookies and crescent donuts, okay? So she's not playing around. So I have to say, Kirsten is so deserving of this award, and thank you so much, the Be More Commission, for giving this honor to her. Kirsten Thummel.
Well, I cannot compete with that. I will not be talking about myself like that. And I am truly humbled to be in a room full of people of this caliber. It's incredible. Much like all of you, we volunteer because we want to give back to the community without a real expectation of getting anything in return. So to receive a nomination for an award like this is pretty overwhelming. So thank you, and Emily and everyone at the shelter for being an incredible organization. That's it. That's all.
Hello, I'm Ben Wendell. I am the office manager at CJAM, Community Justice and Mediation, and unbelievably enough, I was the recipient of this award last year, which is why I'm here now. Being on the committee to select all of the wonderful award winners that we have in front of us was kind of a mind-opening experience. And there are so many volunteers doing so many great and difficult things in this community. If you look at the back of your programs, just the list of the nominees who didn't get the awards, all of them deserve it. I wish we could have given 100 awards. So that's me going off script. While I'm off script, last year we were at City Hall, and it was a very nice affair, but it wasn't nearly as cool as this. And it's great to be here, and I thank Mayor Hamilton for getting us through the pandemic here in Bloomington more or less unscathed. But last year it was different. This year it's great to be in a room where we can all breathe again. Yeah. So, this year the selection committee received no nominations for the Be More Energized Award, which acknowledges the work of a volunteer or volunteer group under the age of 25. However, we received so many high-quality nominations for the Be More Impactful Award, better known as the Volunteer of the Year Award, me again, that we decided to offer 2 Be More Impactful awards, one for an individual and one for a group. The 2023 Be More Impactful Award honors, the Be More Impactful Award honors the outstanding contribution of one individual and one group to a local organization. So, the individual award winner. Literacy data consistently indicates that at least 1 in 10 adults in the United States struggle with low literacy skills. Apparently I'm one of them. And that 8% of U.S. adults have limited English proficiency. Poverty, joblessness, and isolation are just a few of the issues that can stem from limited literacy and language skills. Vital's staff and volunteers lead individual and group tutoring programs that help community members improve their literacy and English language skills. Sylvia McNair's commitment to Vital's inaugural English conversation groups for beginners has helped countless individuals improve their language skills and build community in Bloomington. The staff and volunteers are not only grateful for Sylvia's hard work, but for the joy and enthusiasm she brings to all her conversation groups. We would like to present the Volunteer of the Year Award to Sylvia McNair for her work with the Monroe County Public Library Vital program. Sadly, Sylvia is out of town at another event and could not be present tonight. In her place, we have Bethany Turrentine, who will be accepting the award in Sylvia's place.
So I am a humble stand-in for Sylvia tonight, and I hope that I can do justice to her words. Channel my Sylvia now. Good evening. I wish I could be with you in person tonight, but I'd like to share my gratitude through these words. The first thing I did after retiring from the IU faculty in 2016 was to sign up to work with Vital. They offer adult training in adult literacy and teaching English as a new language, and I soaked up every minute of it. We take so much for granted. I've spoken English my entire life, but I never fully realized how difficult, how contradictory, and how irregular English is until I began tutoring adult learners who were studying it as a second, third, or even fourth language. So much of English makes no sense. Why is the third person singular always a different word? I do, you do, he, she does. Conjugate a bunch of verbs and you'll find out. Then there's the sounds. Why sign but signal? Why paid but said? Shoe never rhymes with foe. And don't get me started on the TOEFL exam, the standard measuring stick for English learners. As I coached one eager student through the TOEFL prep, I realized I would not be able to pass the test myself, and I know plenty of other native English speakers who wouldn't either. Happily, the Vital team and their library of resources makes tutoring adults a lot less difficult. There are always books, games, and expert guidance to steer us. Helping people get to a place where they can communicate in English with more confidence and joy is one of the best parts of my life. Sharing language brings us closer together so we can work toward a better understanding of each other and our world. I'm beyond grateful for this recognition. Thank you, Bethany Turrentine, and all the amazing folks at Vital. Now my turn. I'm actually happy that I don't have to follow Sylvia. I'd like to follow her remarks, though, with just a few words of my own. Vital is volunteers in tutoring adult learners. We provide a safe and respectful learning environment for adults who want to improve their reading, writing, and English language skills. We also help learners prepare for the high school equivalency test, the driver's test, and the citizenship test. These free services have been offered by the Monroe County Public Library since 1977. We've seen a lot of changes over the decades, but the one thing that remains constant is our reliance on the community and our community partner advocates. Vital is a people program, and we rely on people like you to help us spread the word in the community about our free adult learning program. If you struggle with reading or have limited English skills, a billboard or a flyer won't be much help. But the people in this room are some of the most active and engaged citizens that we have, and you can provide a tremendous service by helping us spread the word to your friends, families, neighbors, and colleagues. Learners are always welcome. Tutors are always needed. We hope to see you at the library.
Okay, so this next award was particularly easy for me to vote on. What these people do is just, it is so good and so necessary. So this is the Be More Impactful Group Award. Bloomington Meals on Wheels has been an exclusively volunteer-run organization for most of its existence, hiring its very first staff members in 2010. Throughout their 50 years as an organization, Meals on Wheels volunteers have delivered nutritious, medically tailored meals to homebound Bloomingtonians. That's a hard word to say, Bloomingtonians. From Monday to Friday. Over 300 volunteers serve in a variety of roles, including route drivers, route coordinators, office assistants, and pantry assistants for the mobile food pantry program. Through a global pandemic, when many of our senior citizens and disabled neighbors were isolated in their homes, Meals on Wheels volunteers continued to deliver food and support to their clients. We want to thank the Bloomington Meals on Wheels volunteers for 50 years of fighting hunger and malnutrition in our local senior and disabled populations by presenting them with the 2023 Volunteer Group of the Year Award.
I'm grateful that some of our 300 volunteers can join me on stage this evening. On behalf of them and Meals on Wheels, I want to thank the Bloomington Volunteer Network for this honor. I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to work with such an outstanding group of dedicated volunteers who care so much about their Bloomington neighbors. Over the past 50 years, Bloomington Meals on Wheels have delivered over 1.3 million meals. While the contributions of every single one of these volunteers is essential, I want to take a second to recognize a few volunteers whose workload is different than most. And if they're here, please stand or raise your hand if you're on the stage. Our client coordinator, Mary Sutherland. I've got kind of a long list, so you might want to hold your applause till the end. Our volunteer coordinator, Cheryl Engber. Our assistant treasurer, David Rolfing. We have about 16 route coordinators, including Mary Claire Bauman, Kathleen Bogus, Laura Cutshall, Martha Danielson, Linda Darnell, Teresa Gervin, Michelle Liptak, Bob and Patty McLean, Bruce Miller, Jeff Palmer, Mike Romey, Jim Scomp, Jerry and Ann Steele, Mary Stewart, and Marta Tishner, as well as our board of directors. I would also like to acknowledge 3 volunteers who have been delivering meals with us for more than 40 years. Those are Jean Burgess, Joan Ferguson, and Linda Stipp. Please join me in thanking Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marcus Whited. I am with the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County, and also honored once again to be on the selection committee again this year. It's quite a blessing. Each year, the Be More Awards selection committee members have a very difficult job. I mean, you've heard these stories one right after the other. You can imagine how difficult it is. We read nomination after nomination, detailing the incredible dedication of individuals and groups to countless worthwhile organizations and causes. Recipient selection, it feels impossible. And I just want to take a minute to say, you know, as challenging as it is, you know, I've been able to be on this committee a few years, and it's a weird thing, right? Because it's so difficult, but the blessing of reading through these and evaluating these, the blessing is so much more because you're inspired. You're reading about these contributions to our community, and you're thinking, gosh, look at what they're doing. What can I do? So as difficult as it is, it's incredibly inspiring. This year, the selection committee, as well as the Community Foundation of Bloomington, Monroe County, were so moved by a particular nominee's lifetime of service that we felt compelled to present her with a special recognition award. Kathleen Bogus's 45 years of community service began in 1982 when she started volunteering for Monroe County CASA, court-appointed special advocates. After her retirement from a career in educational counseling, she dove into volunteering for a number of local organizations. Her most frequented organizations included Monroe County CASA, Meals on Wheels that you've just heard about, the Bloomington Chamber of Commerce Success School, Center for Sustainable Living, St. Thomas Community Garden, and Girl Scouts of America, just a few. Outside of her service to these groups, she is known for adopting individuals who need help. It was mentioned in the nomination that she's particularly known for filling gaps in the system where services or resources may not be available. She seems to seek those out to meet the needs for those people, making that special effort. When asked why she spends so much time of her free time volunteering, Kathleen once said to the nominator, well, if we don't do it, who will? Kathleen is truly an embodiment of goodwill and the volunteer spirit that we're celebrating here tonight. Honoring her lifetime commitment to serving the Monroe County community, we'd like to present a special recognition award to Kathleen Bogus.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this. I want to thank Martha Dogan for nominating me for this award. As we walk, we talk about things that we're doing, and I guess she decided she needed to do this. But she was in contact with Daryl, my husband of 50 years. They worked together on the nomination, and I've been fortunate that I chose well over 50 years ago because Daryl has always allowed me to have the space to do what I think needs to be done. And he supports me in so many ways, and I appreciate it. I chose CASA, and by the way, it was 83. I told them 82 was when I started graduate school, but CASA actually started apparently the next spring, my first year in graduate school. I chose them to receive the money for this award because they are always in need and have limited resources. So I'm glad that I could honor them in that way. And Kristen Boucher, who's the director, and Lynn Card, who is my supervisor, are here tonight. So I'm glad they were able to join me. Two of the other nonprofits that I work with, one is Indiana Solar for All, which is a program for the Center of Sustainability. And we received a nice sum of money from you earlier this year, and we appreciate that. And then just last week, the St. Thomas Community Garden received an award, a grant to help the community garden. So both of those organizations have received something recently, and I appreciate that. And from Solar for All tonight, I noticed Woody walked in, and Stacy's out there, and Hedden. They just spend an enormous amount of time working together to get solar on the rooftops of low-income families. And so that's a group that's really close to my heart. Let me see. I do have a couple people here from the community garden. I know Pastor Adrian walked in right as we were starting, and then Shirley Mingy is also a worker in that garden. So I'm glad that they were able to join me here tonight. And then, of course, the people that I work with on Meals on Wheels, it's always fun to see them because they are also very deserving. The reason I volunteer is because I grew up in a family of volunteers. My parents have both been honored in my small hometown in Minnesota. They're no longer with us. I know they're here in spirit, but I just grew up believing that volunteering is what you did. You didn't ever ask questions about it. You just did it. I started as a Brownie Scout because my mother was the founder of Girl Scouts in my hometown. And so through scouting, part of their goal is to also volunteer. So volunteering has always been something that has really been important to me. I have 2 daughters here tonight, 2 granddaughters. They continue that pattern of volunteering, and I really enjoy seeing the things that they get involved in. So I'm glad that they're able to be here tonight as well. I think that my extraordinary parents really modeled a phrase that I have on next to my computer. From those who have been given much, much is expected. And some of the others have been said how blessed they feel. Pete, I know Pete really well, and he does way more than just the the refugee portion. So I just think that in order for communities to survive, we need more and more volunteers. All volunteers are really important. Recently, when I was planning for an Earth Day forum at my church, I got a mailing that had this poster in it. I realize you can't see it very well, but it has 12 world religious groups shown in here with a basic belief that all 12 of them have. And that basic belief is doing for others as you would want them to do for you. And so the whole idea of helping others, serving others as you would want to be served crosses religious lines, it crosses political lines. It's a way that we can come together and really do the best we can for our society. So volunteering has been a lifestyle for me. I think it's partly my therapy because I'm an extrovert and I really need to get my energy from other people. So being out there volunteering gives me energy, and I think the people that I help give me way more than I give them in return. It takes so many of us to have a strong community of caring, as is shown here tonight, and we've got so many good, worthy recipients for the Be More Awards. And I know, as I said, Pete and Sylvia, many do much more than just what they were recognized for tonight. But it takes all of us. And there are many people out there in the community that are not being recognized, and they go day by day doing the things that they're doing. And I think they all need to be congratulated as well as we see them in the community and thank them for the work that they do, the ongoing work that they do. So congratulations to all the volunteers here tonight and the many more who go unnoticed as they contribute to the quality of life in Bloomington and
Well, I just want to say thank you all for coming. Congratulations to all of our recipients and nominees. Your efforts and service are inspiring, and we an evening like this evening is one of those where you can go home and feel uplifted, and hopefully some of the stories you've heard this evening might motivate you to all go out. For those of you who don't volunteer, and my guess is this audience is pretty small of those, but for those of you who don't or know somebody who doesn't volunteer, sharing your stories with them is a great way to help them to be inspired to also become involved. So if you know people who are looking for opportunities, spread the word. Feel free to spread the word about the volunteer network. If people are looking for help or looking for ways to get involved, they can reach out to me personally. They can go to the volunteernetwork.org and find lots of great opportunities and organizations looking for folks. I'm going to speed things along because I know we're running a little short on time here, but there is an opportunity for all volunteers, organizations with volunteers, board members, committee members, anybody who might be interested. We have revived an old favorite with WFHB. It's a program called Activate, and it's a partnership between WFHB and City of Bloomington Volunteer Network. It presents first-person narratives from people who are working for positive change. So anybody who would be interested in sharing your story, you get about a 5-minute interview. It'll be airing at the end of the 5 p.m. news on Monday on WFHB Community Radio. So again, reach out to me, send volunteers my way. We're filling out the whole year full of interviews. So there's lots of spaces and there's lots of great stories to share. I've heard a few of them this evening. So thank you again to all of the sponsors for making this evening a wonderful event. Thank you so much for the selection committee members for your help with making the recipient choices. Thank you, Mayor Hamilton, for coming. We do have a photo opportunity for recipients with the mayor shortly as soon as we're finished here. And again, we hope you all will come out again next year and keep up the wonderful work in the community. And thank you very much.